This is a video on just a few interesting things I've noticed about how to play Green Day's Time of Your Life. If you don't already know how to play this song, feel free to check out my tutorial by clicking the link on the screen. First, a little history. A lot of people think this song's first appearance was on 1997's Nimrod album, but the song is actually a lot older than that. Billie Joe Armstrong actually wrote it in 1990 and didn't show it to his bandmates until years later when they were recording Dookie. The producer didn't think the song really was a good fit for the album, so it was released a few years later as a B-side to the German import of the Brains 2 Jaded single. The original version is a bit different. It's a bit more up-tempo, it's in a different key, it's longer than it needs to be really, and I think the chords are different. It's the same chord progression, but I think maybe the actual chords are different, but it's worth a listen. There's a bit of a false start to the song. He accidentally strikes the 4th and 3rd strings when he means to strike the 3rd and 2nd, and oddly enough, he makes this mistake twice. In case you're interested in what he's playing, just form that ubiquitous G6 note 3, strike the 6th string, then the 4th, 3rd, and 4th. I've watched many videos of Billie Joe Armstrong playing this song and many more other guitarists doing tutorials, and the biggest mistake I see is people forming a normal G chord. When Billie Joe plays a G chord in the song, he's not forming that major 3rd. The 5th string is definitely muted by the middle finger, and his pinky isn't on the 1st string. In fact, the pinky isn't used in the song at all. During the verse section, your ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret is the pivot point. When you're transitioning between the chorus, that finger stays at that position. So if you're a beginner, that pivot point makes it a lot easier for you to form the chords. In fact, it might be a bit easier if you keep your ring finger there for all the strumming parts. This is something you can try. When you transition from the verse to the pre-chorus, keep your ring finger there. Still form the E minor, only don't strum all the strings, just strum the bass strings. And then it'll be easier to transition from E minor to D. Now instead of transitioning from D to C, you can just transition from D to C add 2. This is actually something Billie Joe himself does when he's playing live, and then it's very easy to transition from C add 2 to G6 note 3. So playing the pre-chorus like that should sound like this. And as for the chorus, do the same thing. Form the E minor, only don't play the lighter strings here, and easily transition to the G6 note 3. And again, you can easily transition from E minor to D. So hopefully that helps. Throughout the song, the 1st string doesn't seem to be important here. I'm not even sure if he's playing it most of the time. Sometimes I'll see him just form a D5, and sometimes like a full D chord, and even if the middle finger is on the 1st string, 2nd fret, I can't really hear that F sharp. When you play this song, play it so it's comfortable for you. When you're playing the arpeggio parts, and if you're playing just a pure arpeggio, you're not, adding in any strums anywhere, you don't need to use your middle finger when you're forming a D or a C. And you don't even need to be fretting anything at all when you're doing the E minor. Billie Joe flat picks this song, but I've seen people play it just fine with their fingers. It's another thing I noticed, when he makes a D, his thumb mutes the 6th and 5th strings like this. And he does this so he can make wide strums to play a little easier. An easy way to play an E minor is like this. He plays his E minor with the middle and ring fingers like this. I think he was just taught that way, but my way is easier for transitioning from E minor to D. Don't worry about being precise. The arpeggio parts aren't even pure arpeggio, meaning instead of forming a chord and just playing the individual notes, he'll often strum a chord once or twice. But with everything I've taught you, you can figure out the rhythm easily enough. And of course, we come to the ending. When you're playing the verse arpeggio for the last time, when you form the C add 2, your tempo slows down a little, Then when you form that D, it starts off the same. Then you hit the 3rd string twice, the open bass strings, and then that G6 note 3 one last time. It should sound like this. That's about it. I hope you found this little insight into Billie Joe Armstrong's playing style informative.